What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Friday Night Madness. The night after Halloween. We're here. It's from the forum, and I've got a killer crew with me tonight. We got half with the hat on backwards, half with the hat forward. Sounds like we're ready to brawl.
Do it.
But yeah, got a killer crew with me. Just real quick, if you guys would introduce yourself, tell people where they can find your content, and we're gonna get rocking on this thing.
Oh yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm Jacob Croghan, part of the BS Network. I do the BS and Sports Bets, and you can follow me at my Twitter handle here, or follow at BS and Sports.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I'm Ryan Linkletter, owner of Blitz Sports Media. Just getting going here on the social media grind and growing the brand. I really appreciate Tyler having me on tonight, and let's have a great stream.
All right, and everybody from Fantasy Sports Advice Network, you might recognize me, Chase Thornton from Fantasy Sports Advice Network, Fantasy Football Advice Network, Operation Domination on Wednesday nights. Happy to be here, happy to talk some football, and looking forward to the weekend.
Nice. And I'm Tyler. I'm your host, Fantasy Sports Advice Network in the house, ready to rock. And we got people popping in the chat already. Yo, let's go. Lion Light Hidden pumped for the show tonight. Well, we're pumped. Go ahead and start dropping those questions. And we got to, I don't know if you guys saw the graphic. I had to do it. Last week was National Tight End Day, right? And all of a sudden, everything that we had hoped for all season, all the tight ends that we drafted super early that we wanted some kind of production out of went nuts. And we were all going, yes, it's time. It's back. We had our Trey McBride, our George Kittle, like just Cade Otton, which, we talked about in the show last week. And we said without Mike Evans, without Chris Godwin, play Cade Otton, put him in your DFS lineups, put him in your, whatever mini games you play, put him in your lineup. If you have him on your roster, I don't care if he's on your practice squad, find a way to put Cade Otton in your lineup. And it was like a 33-point week. So, killer week. Ryan, how did you feel last week watching those tight ends like finally do something?
Let me tell you right now, from the tight end, just what we got through the first 4 weeks, everybody was like, man, tight ends are done this year. We're cooked. We might need a tight end premium next year. And then here we are. The last 2 weeks, tight ends have exploded. And, I've been a big Cade Otton fan myself the last few weeks. Even before the injuries, he was starting to increase his role in that offense. And now here we are. And everybody's like Cade Otton, Evan Ingram, David Njoku. These are top 6 tight ends now. And obviously you have your dogs in Bowers, McBride, George Kittle, Kelsey. Like, tight ends look great right now. It's honestly probably the best tight ends have been this season. And, hopefully it's a trend of things to come going forward.
BHS Cardinal popped in the chat. What about those tight ends last week? Is it a tease or is it a lock rest of season? Jake, let me know. I mean, can we count? Can we count on it? Or was it just like a one-off week? Like, are they here to stay?
I don't think it's a one-off week, but I don't know if it's a consistent thing this year. But it is nice to see that the tight ends are playing. I think they are going to do a better job of being more efficient here. Receivers kind of haven't been doing anything this year. This is a low fantasy year for wide receiver stats. Running backs have been taking over, and I think tight ends are going to start being like off the play action, being used more. So teams are getting used to it. Teams are understanding what they need to do. So I think it will be more consistent, but I don't know if it's here to stay. I will not commit to that answer, if you will.
I know, right? You never want to throw it out. But I mean, even like, you watch the Steelers play and like Darnell Washington's getting targets in that offense from Russell Wilson. I'm like, oh man, like, and I'm watching him stiff arm somebody's face into the ground. I'm like, yes, like we're getting little bits and pieces. Chris popping in, he's saying, speaking of tight ends, is Hawk worth playing over Dubes this week? I'm going to send this to you, Chase, because I know you got a little Packers fandom in you there.
I got some Packers fandom, and to me, it's not necessarily as much about Packer fandom with that question as it is the position you're talking about. Now, I know we're all psyched up. We're all excited to see Hawkinson finally back on the field. We know what kind of player the dude can be when he's out there. He's got a good you've got a good quarterback to throw to him right now. They've been playing well this year. But dude, it's his first game back off a blown knee that he's been working back toward. And you're talking about Romeo Doubs, who it's scary in that Packer wide receiver room because you never know week to week who the dude is going to be. And this week, right now, we're waiting to see who's going to be the quarterback. Dude, I would be waiting to see. I would probably monitor that quarterback situation. If you're more comfortable with Love than you are with Malik Willis, then I don't think it's a question. I would play Doubs over Hawkinson, at least for week 1 back from the injury. If Willis plays and it scares you off, I mean, yeah, you can take a shot with Hawkinson. I am plugging Hawkinson in the one league that I did end up snagging him in. I'm playing him this week, but it's because I had a weak tight end core in that. I mean, who doesn't this year? That's like the one league that I didn't have Trey McBride in. I was waiting for Hawkinson to come back, so I finally get him back. So yeah, I'm like a kid in a candy store with a new toy or whatever the hell you want to call it. There, I'm plugging him this week. But I don't know that I'd be playing him over Doubs because now you're talking about a flex position, which means you already have a tight end playing somewhere, I assume, unless it's some kind of weird lineup situation.
Yeah, I can tell you this. If Malik Willis is at quarterback, I don't want anybody. I don't want any of those receivers. We see it every week. Like, he's a run-first quarterback. Like, when the pocket starts to break down, there's no longer reading the defense or trying to get the ball out. It's like, let me just take off, and it's not sustainable for your wide receivers. We saw it in Tennessee. You saw it last week in Green Bay. If Willis starts, I think I'm out on any Green Bay receiver, which I know is difficult, but at the same time, Green Bay has been that one-off. Somebody's up, somebody's down. You never really know who it's going to be.
Well, and to your point about Willis too, in those 2 games that he started there, Doubs only saw 5 targets total in those 2 games. So I mean, it's not what you're right. They didn't throw a ton. They weren't doing Tennessee to him, where Tennessee went out of their way not to throw the ball with Malik Willis in there when he played for Tennessee. But for the 2 games that he started, yeah, Doubs only saw 5 targets total for 2 weeks there. If Malik Willis plays and you feel more comfortable about Hawk, yeah, plug him in. But otherwise, no. If it's Love, go with Doubs. It's a shot.
So we got a super chat, and just so you guys know, if you do super chat, obviously you get priority for your question. So we're going to move immediately down to Ismail, and he says, Sam Laporta or Ferguson moving forward, who do you want? You want to start with Jake? Yeah. You're cringing there.
I mean, it's a fair question. Sam Laporta has not done what he did last year. He has regressed, but with Jameson Williams out, I think he sees a more consistent role like he did this last week. And Ferguson is the security blanket for Dak Prescott when he gets under pressure. And with Brandon Cooks being out, he is a consistent tight end, and he's going to get you those dink and dunks when CeeDee Lamb's not open. And so he's kind of the second option there. I would have to go with Ferguson. There's just less competition there.
Really?
I would agree.
Less competition, more target volume. So, yeah, give me Ferguson there.
Here's the thing I'll say about that debate, too, is that now is the perfect time that Sam Laporta doesn't have Jameson Williams, and you could sell high on him because he's going to be in for a solid week this week, I think, against the Packers. When his target share goes back down when Williams comes back, that is the time you need to sell high on him. Like, his value these next 2 weeks is going to be his peak value this season. And we saw every week before his target share was abysmal, like 31st among tight ends. So I'm not necessarily sure I'm buying Laporta's long-term value this season, but Ferguson, we know, like, especially in PPR formats, he's going to have 6 to 7 targets a game, considering Jalen Tolbert's that number 2 option in that Dallas offense. And, Dallas is in for a little bit of positive touchdown regression, I'll say, in the second half of the season. So I think it'd be smart to sell Laporta potentially, and then, keep Ferguson long-term as your tight end.
Yeah, I like that.
Ooh. Yeah, I'm on the opposite side of this debate. I tend to think it's Laporta. And I'm a Badger fan. I love Jake Ferguson, but it's Laporta for me. especially I talked about a couple of weeks ago on another show where it's weird because the way they're using Laporta last year it was like they were overlapping him with Amon-Ra St. Brown, and for some reason somehow it was working. This year it seems like the usage that they're giving Sam Laporta has overlapped with Jamison Williams, which is weird, and it has not been working. If Williams is out, and we know he's out here for at least 2 games, but if Williams is out and if he's out further with his issues here, then if they continue to use Sam Laporta that way, now he can get that kind of volume. It's not a fun debate to have when you're talking about tight ends, especially this season. But yeah, I'm probably on the Laporta side of things on this one.
I want Laporta because I love that offense. That offense is run heavy, and I feel like when they go to play action, they look Laporta. But I will say, the difficulty is when you look at Laporta's games, and you guys, me, Chase. I'm more of a stats guy.
Yep.
When you look at Laporta, his first game against the Rams, he had 5 targets. Then from game 2 to game 7, he never had more than 4 targets. 3, 2, 4, 1, 2. And last game, he had 6 of 6 targets, 6 targets, 6 catches, and he had a touchdown. And so we're starting to get that hope, it's going to be there. But the matchups aren't great. I mean, he's got a good couple coming up, but then, during the playoffs, it's not awesome. Jake Ferguson is the complete opposite. He's getting all the targets. He's got 11 targets against Baltimore. Last, 4 games, 7, 7, 4, and 8. So he's getting the targets. He's not completing it with the touchdowns. And the thing that hurts Ferguson is his average yards per target is probably 6.
Yeah.
It's a lot of dink and dunk, passes, 6 yards per catch. And so you're in a PPR format, especially if it's a tight end premium PPR format, I think Ferguson wins because of the targets and the catches. But if it is not, and it is a touchdown dependent or big play dependent tight end scoring, standard scoring, that's where I lean Laporta. So that's the difference for me. That's kind of the breakdown. I don't know what kind of league you're in, Ishmael, but that's the game breaker for me. Tight end premium PPR, I'm going Ferguson. Touchdown dependent standard format, I want Laporta.
Yeah, you were almost dead on with that stat there. Jake Ferguson average yards per target 6.3. Sam Laporta average yards per target this season 11.8. Last year he was at 7.4. Just weird what they're doing in Detroit with him this year. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean it's been a wild season. That's the definition of this season. Weird, right? What the heck is going on? The injuries, crazy. Yeah, it's been nuts. So we're gonna keep rolling. Over on Twitch, Zaire Thorley, Tillman or Downs. Ryan, you're being too quiet, man. I need to know who you in on. Tillman or Downs. And I know this is probably going to spark a whole nother conversation with some Anthony Richardson hate, but just off the cuff, who do you want rest of the season?
It's Josh Downs. We have Joe Flacco back at quarterback, and we know how great Josh Downs was when he had Joe Flacco at quarterback. And then, the last 2 weeks he got AR back. First week, 1 catch. Then last week had that monster touchdown, made his fantasy day look pretty good. But except for that touchdown, it was another lot of targets, not many catches for him as well. You get Joe Flacco back. I trust Josh Downs. He's one of my favorite starts of the week against the Minnesota Vikings, who are allowing the most fantasy points to receivers this season. But that doesn't mean Cedric Tillman is a bad player by any means. Cedric Tillman honestly has the potential, I hate using this word, league winner potential, just because of the volume he's been playing, the snaps he's been playing, and just his average depth of target so far has been really impressive to me. And they're using him just as he's basically Amari Cooper. His usage just filled in for Cooper. It's crazy to see what we're seeing out of Cedric Tillman. So you have 2 great options there. Personally, I think Josh Downs is going to be better down the stretch. And if you got to choose one this week, I would go Downs.
Oh, absolutely.
I love Downs with Flacco. Anthony Richardson, obviously it's been all over SportsCenter. It's been all over First Take. It's been all over everywhere with the tap out. Yeah. And, You guys know, I mean, Chase, I know you know, I've said it from the very beginning, rookie year, I was out on Anthony Richardson. I just didn't think, like, you go to a tier 1 program like Florida, you're under a tier 1 coach like Billy Napier, you got 5-star talent all around you, and you can't get over 500. You know, like I just don't think you're going to come run an NFL team. And the only thing that gave me hope for Anthony Richardson was Shane Steichen. Right. Like, we had a coach that we know can develop a running quarterback, and it got us excited. We were hopeful. And then last week, you know, you see it. And I just watched actually it was an interview for Cam Newton. And he was saying like in those moments, like in a divisional game, when it's on the line, you got to tough up, you know, you got to get up and you got to perform for your guys. And like that carries into the locker room, that carries to the coaching staff. And, you know, it's tough. I like Downs with Flacco. I will say, famous Jameis likes to throw the ball. And the deep target has been Tillman. I think both of these guys could be significantly relevant rest of season. And honestly, like, I might roll both. I don't know who you got to bench or who you got to go with. But, you know, Tillman's came through as he needed to. And we know, we've seen it with the Saints, you know, like Jameis is going to put the ball in there and he's going to give his receivers an opportunity. And I'm excited. You know, I'm also not a big Deshaun Watson fan. So when they switched over, it was like the answer they might have needed. I wish they would have kept Baker because, you know, Baker's in Tampa doing that thing, you know what I'm saying? But like, you know, if Jameis was like, I'm glad that's there. So that gives me hope for Tillman. But I think either one, I love Flacco on the, you know, the crossing routes and everything. I think Downs eats. So I'm with you, Ryan. It's close though. Let's see.
Yeah, no, I mean, personally though, like, I think I agree with what you said. They got two, like, these guys could be 2 starting options, and like, you don't have to feel uncomfortable with rolling out both these guys going forward.
So we got Ismail back in the chat. Mahomes versus the Buccaneers, who they don't have much of a weapon, and Chiefs run it a lot. Or Dak versus the Falcons, who played 20% less on man coverage compared to last season's 41%. Mahomes or Dak moving forward?
Dak.
Yeah, I'd agree. But does he want to know this week?
He's asking for this week. It's still Dak.
I think I'd go Mahomes this week.
I want Mahomes.
You think so?
Yeah. So listen to this. We actually published this today in our shorts. If you watched Big's, you know, post, he said the number one, like the worst team against the pass all season has been the Jacksonville Jaguars until the last couple weeks. And then who became worst against the pass? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so, you know, it is a cake matchup. You know, we could see a big day. And I know people, Mahomes don't have the weapons. You know, Mahomes never has the weapons. It's Kelsey and whoever else, you know, like nobody's ever healthy. You got Justin Watson out there trying to catch the ball and dropping passes. You know what I mean? Like, he will make the best out of what he has and he'll get the job done. You know, I was excited last week to see Kelsey come back in a little bit more in usage. But for me this week, it's Mahomes, but I don't hate Dak through the season. Go ahead, Jake. Go ahead.
Yeah. I think that's crazy that you say Mahomes never has weapons. He's only ever had weapons, personally, in my opinion. They literally just spent a first-round draft pick on Worthy, who is fast as lightning. He just can't complete a ball to him right now. He's had the best tight end in the past decade with Travis Kelce. Rashid Rice has been his go-to slant guy consistently over and over. And before all that, he had Tyreek Hill. He has always had weapons, always had a great offensive scheme. And he looks like he doesn't want to play football this year. He's making dumb passes, but that's besides the fact. If this week you're going Dak against Atlanta.
Yes.
That game has the highest output.
Highest point total. Thank you.
Yes. High score, 51.5 right now. Vegas expects a shootout here. And who's going to do that? Dak is going to throw the ball. They don't have a run game. He's going to give it to Ferguson, and he's going to give it to CeeDee Lamb. He's going to throw the ball everywhere. Atlanta doesn't have a great defense. They have A.J. Terrell as a corner, but CD is CD. He's going to get his.
Fantasy-wise, they suck against the pass. They suck
do.
against the pass too, just like Tampa Bay does. I'll take the shootout game over the
And to be fair, you can run the ball against Tampa Bay. My guys, Denver, ran all over Tampa Bay. Kareem Hunt is the guy. The Chiefs just want to run the ball. They want to grind it out right now until D-Hop gets comfortable becoming Rashid Rice.
I will say this. DeAndre Hopkins is catching a touchdown this week. That is one of my bold predictions of the week.
Like that.
in warm-ups.
No, it's happening. It's happening this week. It is happening this week.
You know when the now 3 people with their hat on backwards, like Chase. That question that Chase he's like, let's go, man.
I never wear my hat like this.
We ain't
hell
about to have
yeah,
this conversation.
Dak, Team Dak.
Dude, loving it. We're gonna keep rolling. So got Albert popping in. What's up, fellas? Got Jacob. Yo, thanks for tuning in, my friend. He said Jackson Vetter top left. Whatever. I don't know what that means. All right. Sorry, I skipped one. Ming Guak coming in saying just traded McLaurin and Coleman for Debo and Bucky. Thoughts? I want McLaurin and Coleman. I want
McLaurin.
Like here's the thing. What do we know about rookie wide receivers? They usually start to come on halfway through the season. Last week, Coleman, despite having Amari Cooper there, right? Somebody to actually take coverage away. Coleman got a good usage. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And McLaurin.
Hey, first in team snaps, first in routes run. He had all the numbers that he needed.
Right. And then you got McLaurin. McLaurin's catching a 40-yard bomb every week. He was a few yards short of a big time touchdown. Still had a great fantasy week, but with he's absolutely been relevant. And I don't know that you're going to get out of Bucky, who Tampa Bay, they're using a 3-headed monster. Debo's the only consideration here for me that makes this trade shift a little bit. But honestly, you go, Debo versus even McLaurin,
It depends on his running back situation too. If he really needed a running back to fill in, Bucky Irving does make sense. You could have a surplus of receivers. I think it's a fair trade. It's a reasonably fair trade. I could see either side's kind of walking away as a winner per se in this trade.
I don't think Amari Cooper's going to only see 2 targets in games for the rest of the season.
Need him to. McLaurin's freaking wide receiver number 9.
I love Terry McLaurin. I'm talking Coleman. I'm talking for Coleman though. I don't know that Coleman didn't even lead them in targets last week. He had a good game, great game, but Shakir was the one who saw the 10 targets. Cooper's not going to see 2 targets every single week. Coleman, there's a realistic possibility. I like him too. I like his fit in that offense. But they brought in Cooper for a reason. They still have Khalil Shakir. They still have Dalton Kincaid. They still have James Cook. They still have Josh Allen. Coleman is, where does he rank on that team in terms of his red zone usage? And where is he going to be the 5th option in the red zone, the 6th option for them? I love Terry McLaurin. Of these 4, he's probably my number 1 of the 4 players. But Coleman, for me, going forward, I'm not sure if he's 3 or 4, and I'm not a big giant Bucky fan, but I see Bucky as ascendant in that offense. It is, and I know they've used Sean Tucker, and Sean Tucker's nice, and I know that everybody wants Sean Tucker to be awesome, but everybody wanted Carson Steele to not suck too, and guess what happened there?
He had a solid 1 week.
Yeah,
that man fumbled
he's a solid individual. He's just not a decent NFL football player. Debo and Bucky, it's close. It's close for me, but it's Debo.
In any trade like this, what I want is the best player. I want the best player, and I feel like McLaurin's the best player. And personally, if you ask me in my flex, do I want Keon Coleman or do I want Bucky Irving? I want Coleman in my flex. That's just me. But I want the best player. I want Terry McLaurin. Him and Jaden Daniels are vibing. They're feeling each other, and he's peppering them with targets, which is what I want. So, like, it's fine. It's not a bad trade. You did okay. If you
It's
needed a
fine.
running back, you're good. But I personally would have rather had the McLaurin Coleman side.
I like it, Ming. Cook. Get it going. Keep going. Do it.
Is Gesicki a good tight end pickup?
Yes. Yes. This week, yes.
This as long as
Yes,
Higgins
this
is
week,
out.
yes.
What do you got to pick him up for? Yeah, I mean, yeah, if you're
That's
just
true.
If Higgins is out, yes. If not,
Higgins is out.
he's
He's done.
But like rest of the season, that's kind of where I draw the line.
He's only viable if Higgins is out.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, don't give up the farm. Don't drop somebody decent for him.
So Jake said, should I trade Tracy Jr. now or will he win my league? I don't think he's going to win you. I don't think anybody really on the Giants is going to win you the league. But he looks electric. He looks more electric than anybody else they have running the football.
Yeah, I mean, he's been impressive. Like, it's just very like Tracy was one of the most elusive backs in college coming out from Purdue. And, he's been able to showcase that. And obviously we saw like Devin Singletary didn't play bad by any means to start the season. And Singletary got hurt, right? And Tracy played so well that they had to force him into more touches, which was great to see. Like, unfortunately, yes, he plays for the Giants. Not great, but why can't he be a mid-level RB2, fill in for some teams nicely here down the stretch?
I like it. I mean, last week, I don't think anybody really expected him to come out and have the game that he did, especially against a tough defense. So it gives you a lot of hope for what he can be, rest of the season, or even like as a dynasty asset, right? Like,
yeah, dynasty for sure.
Yeah, love it. By the way, guys, and the chat is filling up. Thank you so much for continuing to post your questions and answer. We will try to get to you. Obviously, again, if you do super chat, we will prioritize your question. Otherwise, we're going to just try to roll through, and we may be kind of quick. We may not be able to get everybody's opinion on a specific question, but we'll try to get to you. So just, keep dropping those in. We got GB Chris 21 says, if Brian Thomas Jr. plays, is he worth the risk of starting, especially since he isn't 100%? What do you think, Jake?
I don't think you play him at all. I don't think he's going to be 100%. You can stream Parker Washington here, but I love Ingram this year. But that's me personally, and I'm another two
timing.
Dude, you just said Parker Washington. What? I mean, I'm with you on Ingram. Love Ingram this week, whether Thomas plays or not. If Thomas plays, Parker Washington's mom doesn't want him on field. If Brian Thomas is available.
Fair enough.
But no, Evan Ingram, whether or not Thomas plays, Ingram is a smash start this week. But
yeah, I just wouldn't play Brian Thomas here. I would try and find somebody to stream.
We got Jake
Parker Washington.
These guys don't know what they're talking about. Appreciate the love, bro. We're gonna drop it whether you like it or not. So just keep hanging out with us. Appreciate the tune in. Catch of the year, Garrett Wilson catch. It was a bomb catch. I think everybody was excited about that catch. Man,
except if you were playing against Garrett Wilson, then you weren't too fond of it.
Yeah. Dude. Yeah, tough. I'm glad the Jets got a win. Tough loss for the Texans, but we finally got to see a little bit of that offense move. It took the second half before it happened, but we got to see it. Kyle Mule coming in. I love Blitz. Little love for Ryan in
Appreciate
there.
You, Kyle.
Blitz has the best takes, no cap. You gotta love the support, right?
Yeah, hey, the little backwards cap.
Yeah, right. See, Kyle says, how much do I have to donate for the guy at the bottom to take a shot?
You tuned in. Good work.
Want to take a lot of that liquor and not drinking it.
That was a crazy stretch of comments right there.
Hey, look, Chase, if it gives you any just a little props here, we got from Jacob. These guys don't know what they talking about. right? And then like a little bit later, we got Chase knows balls. So
Development.
and then Kyle says no, he doesn't.
No, he doesn't. Wah, wah, wah.
Noah popping in. What's up, boys? Hey, we love the interaction. Got Chris popping in, giving a good laugh. Hey, Chris. Hey, Kyle. Hi, Noah. Hi, Chris.
The whole crew's there. Hell yeah.
Hey, look, it's all about the show. So as you know, this show is sponsored by the Fantasy Football Advice Network. That's fantasysportsadvice.com. Often on this show, we'll hop over real quick and answer a question from our social media, our fantasy sports only social media platform. So we're going to click over. I've got a good one queued up for us, and we're going to see what they're asking over on the Fantasy Sports Advice Network.
We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com today.
Boom. All right. Let me throw this up on the screen. So we got a question from CKBFF. This is over at Fantasy Sports Advice Network. It is free to sign up. It is a fantasy sports only social media platform. And he's asking, he says, okay, in a deep league, and I'm needing to roll with a deep grab in my league this week. Unfortunately, that means Titans pass catchers. Oh God, it's already rough. Who are you playing this week if you had to choose? And believe me, the waivers are this bare. Also, who do you go rest of season? Chig or Nick Westbrook-Ikhine? It's a doozy.
I would go Ikhine. I would go Ikhine.
Yeah.
He played, I think it was 92% of snaps last week after the Hopkins trade. Like, yep. I mean, he's on the field. That's a positive sign. And I think this week with Pat Surtain and that Calvin Ridley matchup, maybe he catches 4 passes. I don't want to count on it by any means, but in that situation, I think you trust him and that he's on the field, and, you know, he could find his way into 4 catches potentially. But I mean, either way, it's a tough outlook.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't know why that team hates Chig Okonkwo since they have him. I think he's an athletic enough tight end. I think they should be able to use him, but it's Ikhine. It's Westbrook-Ikhine.
I like Westbrook-Ikhine. To me, it delves a little bit into who's starting at quarterback. Like if Levis is there, he likes Chig a little bit more, which leans me that way. So it really depends on quarterback for me. Chig had a good game 2 weeks ago, or a week, not last week, but the week before that. It's going to be a conundrum. Like we don't know. They're both going to be on the field, but I was happy to see how Westbrook-Ikhine was used last week. But if their plan is to get Will Levis back, I'm going to go Okonkwo, even though it hurts. That offense hurts. Honestly, I would probably go grab Malachi Corley and roll with him over either.
No. He won't hang on to the ball long enough.
I know, right? He'll
roll his ass. Chig saw 5 targets last week. Chig did see 5 targets last week, 4 the week before that. So they are using him. It's just, offense where I don't like the pass game, I'll take the wide receiver, I guess.
So we got Jake popping in, giving us some love. Appreciate that. 4-way group. Yeah.
Hills you.
Hills you.
The bipolarness, but we love it.
Oh, I got to try to get back up here where we were. Not a fan of Blitz. What's their company? I don't know. Well, we appreciate the love and we appreciate the hate. At least you're hanging out with us, right? Broncos.
He just doesn't know yet. That's why.
A little bit of love for you there, Jake.
Hey, man. We love all the haters.
I can tell you this. I was surprised. I've been surprised with Bo Nix's performance. Like Bo Nix has been a surprise coming out of the draft. I think he was one of the least touted quarterbacks. Obviously, Denver went all in on him, and I don't know if it's the experience, but he hasn't been the best quarterback, but he's been a gamer. It kind of reminds you of like Baker as a rookie, right? Like he may not be the best, but he's going to take hits. He's going to get out there. He's going to chuck the ball, and he's going to try to do the thing. And that's what I like to see, somebody that's not afraid to stand in the pocket, that's not afraid to like try to play football, And I mean, you're the Denver fan, so you can probably speak to it more than I can.
Well, from a fantasy perspective, he's doing everything you want. 3 of the last 4 games, he scored over 20 points. And the game against New Orleans, they ran the ball. So, I mean, he still scored 14 points. But if you're in a dynasty league, you're trying to buy him right now because Denver is only going to get better weapons for him because right now he's throwing to Cortland Sutton, who is a second rounder but has never been consistent. And then other than that, you got Vele. You have tight ends that were undrafted free agents, and you got 7th rounders, receivers, 5th round receivers, Troy Franklin. Marvin Mims just doesn't see the field. So he's really he doesn't have talent around him right now. And so he's doing what he can. And I think it's only going to get better. And I think people saw the first 2 weeks and saw like those interceptions he threw and kind of just wrote him off as just another bust. But he has been improving week in, week out. And it's been nice to see that. And I mean, he did get Offensive Rookie of the Month for what it's worth.
For what it's worth. Well, look, according to Kyle Mule, Cortland Sutton is the GOAT of all time.
No, not even close. Right. Not even relatively close.
Not even the
John
the last 10
years said, I'm whooping Chase in fantasy football. Me and Quag back in. He said, so I have London, McMillan, Pearsall, Deontay, running back Gibbs, Chase, Roshan, and super flex league. That goes back to that question earlier with McLaurin, Coleman, Bucky Irving, and
Samuel.
Personally, I think you're fine. I roll, Chase. I'm assuming that's Chase Brown.
It's not me.
Who's been decent. But like the downgrade there, like, I mean, I want McLaurin, I want London, I want, Coleman in the flex, Gibbs, Chase. Like, I don't think Bucky Irving's enough of an upgrade for you to deplete yourself on this roster that much. Now, if you were getting somebody else, like if you were getting like a James Conner or somebody that's getting a lot of work that can actually be a true RB2 for you, it would be different. But, I don't think that you have enough depth to really deplete. Let's see here. Favorite defense streamer of the week? Anybody? Who's
Saints.
On? Bengals.
I grabbed a lot of the Saints and I grabbed a lot of the Patriots.
Bengals have a really nice matchup. Saints, good matchup. I mean, either one of those I think are solid.
Patriots are playing the Titans that we love so much.
Yeah, no, right.
Hey, Ryan, can I ask why you say the Saints? Because that kind of shocks me. Because if you look last week, the Raiders did put up 20 against the stout Kansas City team.
Oh, I didn't say the Saints. I said the Bengals.
I mean, Bengals. Yeah, sorry. That's what I meant.
Oh, yeah. So prior to last week, 2 of their 3 last games were 7 or more points, right? They had easier matchups those 2 weeks, performed well. They had a 7-point and a 15-point performance. Last week against the Eagles, obviously it was a dumpster fire, but I'm trusting that the Bengals, with a team that lacks a true elite weapon at wide receiver and running back, will be able to have a good game on defense with Gardner Minshew at quarterback.
Okay.
All right. We got Chris giving us a super chat. Appreciate you. Obviously, we're going to prioritize those. We want to make sure you get your question answered for your money. DK and the Niners D for Kenneth Walker straight up. What do you think? Trading DK. So really I'm a big stream defense person, especially like the Niners really haven't been amazing on defense this year, so like it's really the question is, do you want DK or Kenneth Walker?
Walker.
I think for me, it's Kenneth Walker. Like in a running back weary league, like I want Kenneth Walker. Like he's been electric, and DK, we're still hoping that he can get healthy.
Yeah, I was about to say with DK hurt right now, you go Kenneth Walker, but when DK's on the field, he was a top 10 wide receiver for fantasy football.
He's a perfect fit in that offense too.
Yeah, he dominated. And in the games he didn't dominate, he had that 50-yard touchdown called back and just things like that, just off of penalties. But he is elite in that offense when he's healthy. But since he's not healthy right now with, what is it, a hip issue? Or an oblique or something?
Yeah.
It's a knee.
Yeah.
Well, they're calling it a knee. His knee.
Oh, a knee. Yeah, you just go Kenneth Walker here.
Awesome. I'm going to get one of our Twitch comments. Potato Juice 4811. Appreciate you. Make sure you follow the channel over on Twitch. We are across Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube all at the same time. And Joku or Tyrone Tracy for flex.
This is closer than I feel like people want to admit.
Right?
Playing a tight end at flex is always a risky play, but this one's close. Oh,
Jameis changes everything. Him and those those almost pastoral interviews, that he's given after the game.
I mean, he makes me want to run through a brick wall weekly just listening to him talk.
You pick Njoku here solely because the Chargers have the #1 pass defense as far as against receivers, and they're the 19th, I think, against tight ends. So you go tight end here against Njoku. You have Tracy coming off a concussion, and they're going to probably limit him and give Singletary the ball more. So to me, you go Njoku.
I also think it depends on the format too. I feel in a
true.
PPR league, I think you go Njoku.
Go Njoku, but if it's standard, maybe go Tracy.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Good point.
All right. So HD says I'm 3-5 and I need to win now. Would you guys trade Nico for Aaron Jones and Devonta Smith?
What's Devonta's situation? Because he popped up on the injury report. I thought. I mean, if you need to win, is he healthy?
Yeah,
is he going to be okay? Okay, because that was this afternoon. I know they were talking about him being on the injury report, and if you need to win now, if Aaron Jones don't give it to you, then you'd be up a creek.
I think you take it if you need to win now. You're not getting Nico for at least another week, and you get those. I think Smith will probably play this week too. I mean, 3-5, you need guys to play. I think you go do that deal.
Yeah,
and Aaron Jones has been that guy this year.
Yeah,
you're almost hitting that point. Go ahead.
You're getting two guys that are for sure top 18 at their positions.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a bad deal for Nico, who still is out for at least another week.
Right.
Yeah, and at 3-5, you don't need to lose again. You need to roll. So it's not like you can take another loss, right, and go 3-6 and then fight your way back, because you're gonna have to win out, right? To even have a chance. And while Nico's gonna provide opportunity, Father Time, Aaron Jones is still running the football somehow, and he's been healthy, knock on wood, this season, and Devonta Smith's getting more usage. Chris says, do I hold on to Najee? I have to say, for all the people coming into the season, since Russell Wilson took over the job at quarterback, have you not noticed how Najee is running the football? If you go and watch a game prior, he looks slow. He looks lethargic. He looks like he doesn't want to play football hardly. I mean, he wants to play, obviously, but then you go watch these last two games, and he's running into the hole with some ferocity. He's sidestepping. He's moving crisper. I don't know. But I mean, have you not seen the same thing?
It's out of the I formation, which is what Russell Wilson does. They were out of shotgun most of the time with Justin Fields, and so you're not getting the downhill running. And he's a big back. He's just like Derrick Henry, a little smaller. Derrick Henry's unique, but he's running downhill, and he makes those cuts, decisions, and he just goes. He's bigger. He's breaking arm tackles, so he's running faster because he just gets to go downhill. Compared to in the shotgun, he has to stop, take it, and then choose a hole. Personally,
so the answer to that question is yes.
Yep.
Hold on to Najee. Let's see here. Keep rolling. Gatlin Elder popping in the chat. Appreciate you tuning in. Hit that like and subscribe button. What do you think about my Wilson, BTJ, Deontay for Chase and Devonta? I don't need BTJ when CMC comes back. Man, you like Chase, but Wilson's getting targeted like crazy. I mean, I don't want to be the wild one that says like, Wilson has entered, Jamar Chase territory, but I mean, with his usage, I mean, is it worth it? I mean, I'm not worried about giving up Deontay. The question is really Wilson, BTJ, Chase, Devonta.
I go the right side of that. I think.
Yep.
I think Wilson's been great. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, if you're just looking at from like a pure offensive output, like that was one of the Jets' best offensive games of the season. And Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase have that special connection out there. That's been consistent now for years in fantasy. Wilson, I do agree with you. I think he is the wide receiver one in New York still, despite the addition to Devontae Adams. But you're also getting like Devonta Smith here, and I would take that over Brian Thomas Jr. and Deontay Johnson, I think, any day of the week.
You guys remember earlier in this show, there was a dude, I don't remember who it was, but there was a dude that said when it came down to a trade, he wanted to have the best guy in the trade. He wanted to be getting that best guy in the trade back. Yeah. If the question is, I don't know if Wilson has entered Chase territory, then Chase is the best player in that trade. So then it comes down to Chase wipes out Wilson. It's Devontae Smith versus Brian Thomas Jr. and Deontay. I don't know what the hell Deontay is going to give us after the trade that he just went through. Brian Thomas Jr., I like him. I love him for Dynasty. But if we're talking for how those offenses are performing this year, it's Devontae over both of those guys in the pass game. I'll take the Chase Devontae side all day long.
Yeah, I mean, Chase is the number one wide receiver in fantasy right now. Garrett Wilson is number two, and I mean, Chase has been absolutely guaranteed. So I'm with you I always want the best player in this situation. I want the best player. I think it's a good deal. Let's see here. Keenan gets red zone targets. Noah popping back in. Let's see. We got Chris, make blitz permanent. Appreciate all the love. We got over there on Twitch. I'm new to fantasy, and I don't know who to start at flex. Should I start Kareem Hunt, DeAndre Hopkins, Michael Pittman, or Cedric Tillman? Man, what options to have in your flex?
Yeah. For not knowing what you were doing, you had a good draft. Or you've done well on the wire, one of the two.
I mean, I feel, am I Kareem Hunt?
Yep.
Probably.
I think you trust Hunt. Hunt's just like his floor is higher than the other guys.
He's getting 20 carries a game, and that's kind of what matters.
Yeah, let's see. We got Jacob. How often do you guys go live? So Fantasy Sports Advice Network has a live show almost every night of the week. Different guests, different appearances. This show from the forum, which is a Q&A show, is live every Friday night at 9 o'clock Central Time. Appreciate you tuning in. Said he's got to go. Again, appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for joining. Let's keep rolling. Pharaoh, Tillman, Hunt, Pittman, Hopkins, or Tracy at flex this week?
Hunt.
I think we're still the same.
It's almost the same question we just had. We just added Tyrone Tracy, and I'm still going Hunt over Tracy.
Yeah.
Let's see. Trade question. Mathiasen coming in. Redraft league. Rice for Godwin and Diggs. Half PPR.
Hey, you can't lose here.
You can always count on Mathiasen to drop in some kind of jump.
Who wins this trade? No.
And then we got World of Jesus popping in. I have Tank and Nico. So looking to sell Tank. Running backs and wide receivers are solid. So should I try to upgrade my quarterback with Tank? He has Kirk. If so, then what quarterback should I target? So if you're pairing like a Tank with a Christian Kirk, who do you think you could get? Or will anybody even really be able to give you anything better than what you're getting out of Kirk O'Chains with adding Tank?
These are hard questions when you don't know the status of everybody else's roster, because what you need to do is you need to look for someone who is secure in their quarterback situation, or who has two quarterbacks and one of them is past the bye and they don't feel like they need to worry about it, but also has maybe a weak enough running back core that they're going to feel Tank is beneficial to their team. Pairing him with Kirk Cousins, yeah, you might be getting somebody to bite on that. And I agree with you that if you feel, without seeing your roster, that running backs and wide receivers are solid, yeah, go ahead. I'd try to upgrade Kirk Cousins too if I could. But without knowing the rest of the league's roster situations, those are tough questions to ask, because it needs to be someone who can absorb giving you the quarterback, but also that Tank is going to be a clear benefit to their team, or they're not going to accept the trade.
I assume he means Tank Dell because he put Nico in there.
Yeah.
Is he talking big? Yeah, if he's probably talking Tank Dell, but okay. So yeah, just swap the same logic
running
holds.
back to wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think
Running back to wide receiver, but it still holds.
He said one
he
guy
could get
has
one of those
Jalen Hurts
guys.
and Baker, and his flex is looking unstable. So maybe he's targeting one of those guys.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. If that guy will give you one of them, freaking jump on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
definitely try and
that
get
sounds like a good go. Gatlin said, if Chase goes through, I'm going to have a juggernaut. Hurts, Amon-Ra, Chase, Kyron, Bowers, and CMC. Yeah, that might be a championship.
2-man league.
That'd be okay.
Right,
You should do all right.
2-man league.
Week to week, you should probably feel okay.
The Frogs popping in. Appreciate it. Hit that like and sub. Thanks for tuning in. Are Ertz, Gesicki, or Taysom Hill this week in PPR?
Gesicki. No hesitation, Gesicki.
It's Gesicki for me with a always an interest or an intrigue in the Taysom Hill. Like Taysom Hill always has this ginormous ceiling, right? Like at any given week, it's like 35 points, right? Like could be a possibility because of how they use him in that offense. But if we've already said Higgins is out. They didn't even look Josephus' way last week. It was Chase and it was Gesicki. And they're gonna have to score points.
I feel like playing Taysom Hill weekly is you drink 24 beers and you're just trying to throw a dart at a wall and hit a bullseye. like there's that 1 week that maybe it hits, and then the other 7 or 8 weeks he gets you 2 points. It's hard.
Yeah, by the end of the year, he's good. Yeah, by the end of the year, he's a top 10, top 12 type. But he did all of that in 3 games, and I didn't play him for 2.5 of them.
It's so hard to trust Taysom Hill.
So he's got Carolina this week.
Yeah.
Okay. So everybody should eat. So who's going to score? Because it'll be everybody.
I don't know. He had 4 targets last week. Derek Carr is supposedly coming back this week.
He is.
Yeah. So Derek Carr comes. Derek Carr's coming back.
It's Gesicki, but there's we're in this world where there's always the intrigue of Taysom Hill, right? Like
you want to be right.
Yeah, he's like the guy when you're playing DFS and you only have 3,000, cash left, and you're just like, let me just go take a flyer. I'm going to scroll all the way down here, and I'm going to grab Taysom Hill, and we're gonna ride, and that'll be the week that you win, the Millie Mill,
Yeah, Zach Ertz is 6th in targets for tight ends this year, man. He's coming off an 11 target game.
He's Mr. Consistent.
If you want to take the big shot, go with Hill. If you want the safe floor, go with Ertz. Gesicki is the middle of the road play for me. And that comes down to your philosophy, dear listener, not mine. If you want to take the big shot, it's Hill, because the week before he got injured, before he missed the month, he had 2 touchdowns. And then, I came back last week and he was part of the offense kind of ish. But he's jumping on Taysom Hill. Yeah. Good luck. Good luck hitting that drunk dart throw.
This conversation is exactly how Taysom Hill makes you feel. You know what I mean? Like, maybe. Okay, no, All right, so keep rolling. Matthias said, why would anyone trade Hurts or Baker for a bum like Dell? They're not trading for. I mean, you're getting Dell in an offense that's really beat down. Stephon Diggs is out. It's really Tank Dell is the only person there. And then when Nico gets back, the ones go to Nico, and then that frees up Tank Dell, right? So, like, Tank Dell's going to get targets. I don't think we put Tank Dell in the bum classification, especially with Stephon Diggs out of the game, right? Like, we're not that level. But like for me, honestly, like I probably, if I'm getting like a Baker, I'm probably keeping Dell. If I'm getting a Hurts, I'll pair Kirk and Dell and take Hurts. But
if he feels like his offense, if he feels like his wide receivers are good without Dell, and I think Baker is an upgrade over Kirk Cousins this season. But if I can get the guy to give up, because Baker's the one you've got to try and go for. The thing that sucks is you're going to be missing him in a week because he's got a week 11 bye. Hurts has passed his bye. The guy who's got Hurts and Baker isn't giving you Hurts.
Yeah. He also mentioned Murray too down in the
I was about to say, I'm shooting at Murray here. You go Murray there for the rushing upside. He consistently puts up 20 points almost every game. And that's what you want to do here if you're trying to upgrade a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean, and that even goes over to the next question over on the Fantasy Football Advice Network. Corey said, let's see, let me pop that up here. Corey's asking, never thought I'd be asking this question. Welcome to 2024. Who do I start at quarterback this week? Kyler Murray or Bo Nix? Welcome to 2024.
Oh, this is a tough one.
That's rough. I'm just going to lay this out here. The Ravens have a bottom 3 pass defense, and
it's like Kyle Hamilton and nobody else.
Yeah.
Right.
But who are they playing? The Bears? The
Bears
have
are tough.
Yeah, Cardinals are playing the Bears, yeah.
Yeah, Bears have a stout defense. That's tough.
You got to think like they held Jaden Daniels basically to one of his worst games of the season if it wasn't for that Hail Mary up until that point, obviously, and then he had
But it happened.
But it happened. So you got to think like Murray's a guy who's honestly played very similar to Daniels with less rushing volume. Been pretty hot lately too, to say. I don't know. I think I'd go Bo Nix in this one. I really do. No, I'm sorry, Jacob, but I mean the spread's like 6 right now, and he could get some like scrambling yards potentially if they're down late in the game. They really could be the difference in your.
He's been a good runner. He's been a good runner this year.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I didn't want to say Bo Nix just because I just seemed like.
If you cover up the wall, I say Bo Nix.
Anything I say is just going to be, oh yeah, you're just picking him because he's for your team. So I'm just going to shut up here.
I've got Murray ranked higher this week right now, but yeah, the Baltimore defense makes this a much tougher question than it should appear on the surface.
Well, we're going to round this out. The conversation's still going. So Cousins plus Dale for Baker or Murray. I think you're good either way there. Matthias said, I wouldn't trade someone who has Kirk as a quarterback. If I have Hurts and Baker, I would trade for a flex. Just kind of disrespectful. I'll still pick a streaming quarterback. So, yeah. And then we got, let's see, one more couple here. Would you trade Kelsey for Otten and Romeo Dobbs?
No. I mean, how desperate are you at wide receiver?
Dobbs isn't enough.
You got to be pretty desperate, and even then, like you said, remember last year, Kelsey. The last part of the year was when he actually he'll be
better. Yes, he'll be better down the stretch. He'll be better.
I like Otten, but Evans will come back, and when Evans comes back, he is the target. Whether it's downfield, whether it's red zone. Now that Godwin's out, he's going to be the target. Period. when he comes back. So I don't know if that's enough for me to get rid of Kelsey, even though Kelsey has been underwhelming this year.
Yeah, man, Otten's so appealing rest of the season. Like he's been coming on, he's been consistent, he's been, everything that you want to see in a young tight end. And Baker's like hyper targeting him. I like him. I just don't like Dobbs. Like,
I
give
will
me
say with
somebody
Dobbs,
else. Go
he's
find
first.
somebody else.
Yeah,
He's
see if
first
the
on
guy will give
team
you
in
somebody
target
else.
share. Like,
Go ahead, Ryan. Again, say that loud so when we're not all talking.
No, yeah, it was about three of us that time. But I was saying the last 3 weeks since he served his team suspension, he leads the
Yes.
team in target share, first read percentage, and he's actually been the best receiver the last 3 weeks. And Jaden Reed's taking that back seat. So it's interesting to see, but it's also so hard to trust Packers receivers, like just long term. But Dobbs has improved his stock, but I don't know if it's enough to do that deal.
Yeah. I would go look for an addition outside of Dobbs for Otten, because also the big question mark is what the heck's going to be consistently happening at quarterback for Green Bay, because that changes it all.
Yeah, Fletcher, see if if that's your trade that you're offering, or if he offered it. Yeah, see if the dude will give you Otten and someone else that maybe is a little more consistent than Dobbs. But I think
I just don't do that trade in general. I'm keeping Kelsey. I'm keeping the consistency. And they're bringing in receivers to try and figure out how to fill Rice's role. And ever since then, it's been the Kelsey show, and that's what you're there for.
Jacob's a Swiftie, so.
I really like DJ Moore's playoff schedule. Bench Goddard, Tillman, Deontay, A-Rich. Who can I trade for DJ Moore? Any of those. Any combination of those paired up. You may still have the A-Rich lovers out there, sure. Like any of those paired up to get you DJ Moore, I'm good with.
I honestly don't know that I would give up Tillman right now for DJ Moore.
I was going to say the
other three jump on. I don't know that I like Tillman better than Moore rest of season. They just haven't used DJ Moore the same way they used him last year.
Effect. It's disgusting.
And therein lies the problem. Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to be honest. If somebody hits my inbox with a DJ Moore for Cedric Tillman trade, it's going to be really hard for me not to accept that. Personally, and be it as it may, just I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could pull myself to do it.
Like, are we talking redraft or?
Yeah, redraft.
Oh, redraft that's hard.
It is.
But
yeah.
Dynasty, if you're doing Dynasty, give me DJ Moore all day.
I won't argue that.
We're gonna close this out with the last question here. We're hitting our hour mark. Mean Quack say back for one more question. He says Laporta and Deontay for Otten and Mostert. Mostert would just be for my bench in case something happened to one of my running backs.
Yes, I would do that.
That's so rough.
Yeah,
it's weird, but I would do that. I would take Otten and Mostert for Laporta and Deontay.
Deontay's value is just way down now. Way down.
Mostert's not going to get you 75 rushing yards a game, but he could score 2 touchdowns a game from here on out. So,
and honestly, the workload for Otten's, I think, is like double Laporta's. Especially through the next few weeks, and I think it continues. Like they're going to miss Godwin, right? And like Godwin was like the short route slot, like slant run across the field type guy, and that's the role that Otten's filling. So I think even with Evans back, Otten's still going to be super relevant. He's a play for me rest of the season personally. Well, that wraps it up. Thanks for tuning in. What an hour. That blew by. I was like, holy crap, it's 4 minutes after 10. We got to end this thing. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe. If you're on Twitter, if you're on Twitch, hit the follow button. Appreciate you guys. Jake, Ryan, Chase, you guys were absolutely killer tonight. Mean Quack coming in. Appreciate you, boys. Appreciate you for tuning in. We'll see you next week live from the forum. See ya.
We are here. We are here. FantasySportsAdvice.com, offering the best fantasy sports social media platform. Why join endless Discord communities or the trolls of Reddit? Fantasy Sports Advice is a community designed to help you win with 24/7 support. Go to FantasySportsAdvice.com and become a pro member for unlimited access. Again, go to FantasySportsAdvice.com.